I never thought I'd be writing this, especially not a week into my honeymoon. I'm still in shock, trying to process everything that's happened. My name's Jake, I'm 29, and I just married Olivia, 27, after dating for 3 years. We had what I thought was a perfect relationship. We rarely fought, shared similar interests, and had great chemistry. The wedding was beautiful, and I was on cloud 9 as we jetted off to Bali for our honeymoon. But now, just 5 days in, I'm sitting alone in our hotel room, feeling like my world has imploded. I caught Olivia cheating on me. With our fucking tour guide. I'm still reeling, unsure of what to do next or how to even begin dealing with this. I guess I'm writing this out partly to process it all, and partly because I desperately need advice. How the hell did I end up here? Looking back, there were signs I should have noticed. Olivia had been acting weird since we arrived in Bali. She was constantly on her phone, more than usual, and got jumpy whenever I came near. I chalked it up to jet lag and the excitement of the trip. But then she started insisting on separate activities, saying she wanted to explore on her own sometimes. I thought it was odd, but I didn't want to be clingy. We were here to relax and enjoy ourselves, right? So I'd go surfing while she went on guided tours of the local temples. Our tour guide, Benjamin, was this young, muscular local guy with a charming smile. Olivia seemed to light up around him, but I told myself I was being paranoid. After all, we'd just gotten married. There's no way she'd, right? The real red flag came 2 days ago. We were having dinner at the hotel restaurant when Olivia's phone buzzed. She grabbed it quickly, but not before I caught a glimpse of the message preview. It was from Benjamin, and it said something like, "Can't wait to see you again, beautiful." My stomach dropped, but Olivia laughed it off, saying Benjamin was just being friendly and that's how people talk in Bali. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But doubt had crept in, and I couldn't shake it. That night, Olivia said she wasn't feeling well and wanted to sleep alone so she wouldn't disturb me. I agreed, trying to be understanding, but I barely slept. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up, leaving a note saying she'd gone for an early morning yoga class. I tried to distract myself, but my gut was screaming that something was wrong. So I did something I'm not proud of. I checked her phone while she was in the shower later that day. What I found made me want to throw up. There were dozens of messages between Olivia and Benjamin. Flirty at first, then explicit. Photos. Plans to meet up. It had started the very first day we arrived. I read through their conversations, feeling sicker with each message. They'd been having sex almost daily, sneaking around while I was off doing other activities. The worst part? Olivia was bad-mouthing me to him. Calling me boring, saying she was having second thoughts about the marriage. Telling Benjamin she wished she'd met him sooner. It was like reading messages from a stranger, not the woman I just vowed to spend my life with. I put the phone down, my hands shaking. I couldn't believe it. Didn't want to believe it. But the evidence was right there. My wife, my new bride, was cheating on me during our fucking honeymoon. With a guy she'd known for less than a week. How could she do this? How could I have been so blind? I spent the next few hours in a daze, trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to confront Olivia immediately, to scream and yell and demand answers. But another part was terrified of facing the reality of the situation. What if this was it? What if our marriage was over before it had really begun? I decided to wait and catch them in the act. It felt sleazy, like something out of a bad movie, but I needed to see it with my own eyes. According to their messages, they were planning to meet that afternoon while I was supposed to be on a snorkeling trip. So I pretended everything was normal. I kissed Olivia goodbye, told her to have a good day, and left the hotel. But instead of going snorkeling, I waited in the lobby, watching. Sure enough, about 20 minutes later, I saw Benjamin arrive. He went straight up to our room. My heart was pounding as I followed a few minutes later. I stood outside our door, listening. And then I heard it, unmistakable sounds of sex, punctuated by Olivia's moans. I felt like I was going to be sick. I don't really remember deciding to do it, but suddenly I was swiping my keycard and bursting into the room. The scene in front of me is now seared into my brain. Olivia and Benjamin, naked on our bed, the bed we'd shared as newlyweds just the night before. They scrambled to cover themselves, but the damage was done. Olivia's face went from shock to guilt to anger in a matter of seconds. "Jake, what the hell are you doing here?" she yelled, as if I was the one who'd done something wrong. I couldn't even speak at first. I just stood there, staring at them, my mind trying to process what I was seeing. Benjamin at least had the decency to look ashamed. He quickly grabbed his clothes and tried to leave, but I blocked the door. "How long?" I finally managed to choke out. "How fucking long has this been going on?" Olivia's response hit me like a punch to the gut. "Does it matter? It's not like this is the first time." Those words shattered whatever was left of my world. "Not the first time?" I repeated, feeling numb. "What does that mean?" Olivia sighed, pulling on a robe. "It means this isn't new, Jake. Benjamin's not the first. There've been others." I felt like I was going to pass out. "Others? During our relationship?" She nodded, not even looking remorseful. "I've been cheating on you for most of our relationship. I thought getting married might change things, make me want to settle down. But it didn't. I still felt restless." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The woman I thought I knew, the one I'd built my life around, was a complete stranger. "Why?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Why did you marry me if you felt this way?" Olivia shrugged, her face cold. "You're stable. Reliable. I thought I could learn to be content with that. But I need excitement, Jake. Passion. Something you've never been able to give me." Her words cut deep, each one like a knife to my heart. I turned to Benjamin, who was looking increasingly uncomfortable. "And you? Did you know she was on her honeymoon?" Benjamin shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. "Look man, I'm sorry. She told me you guys were separated, that the marriage was just for show." I had no idea. I laughed bitterly. Of course she'd lied to him too. I turned back to Olivia, anger finally breaking through the shock. "So what was the plan here? String me along while you fuck whoever you want? How long did you think you could keep this up?" Olivia's face hardened. "I don't know, okay? I didn't have a plan. I don't love you, Jake. I don't think I ever did. You were safe, comfortable. But I'm not built for this whole monogamy thing." Her words hit me like a physical blow. All those years, all those memories, had they all been a lie? "Then why the fuck did you marry me?" I shouted, my composure finally breaking. She had the audacity to roll her eyes. "Because it was expected. My parents, our friends, everyone was waiting for it. And you proposed and I just went along with it. I thought maybe I'd grow into it. But I can't. I won't." I felt like I was drowning, struggling to make sense of this new reality. Everything I thought I knew about my life, about us, was crumbling around me. The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of Olivia's words hanging heavy in the air. I looked between her and Benjamin, feeling a mix of rage, heartbreak, and utter disbelief. "Get out," I finally said to Benjamin, my voice low and dangerous. He didn't need to be told twice, quickly grabbing the rest of his things and practically running out the door. Once he was gone, I turned back to Olivia. "How many?" I asked, dreading the answer but needing to know. "How many others have there been?" Olivia sighed, sitting down on the bed. "I don't know, Jake. I didn't keep count. Maybe 10? 15? Over the years." Each number felt like another stab to my heart. 15? I repeated, my voice breaking. "We've only been together for 3 years. How? It doesn't matter," she snapped. "What's done is done. I'm not going to apologize for who I am." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This cold, unfeeling person in front of me? How could this be the woman I'd fallen in love with? The one I'd vowed to spend my life with just days ago? "Did you ever love me?" I asked, hating how pathetic I sounded but needing to know. Her answer was like ice water in my veins. "I thought I did. But now? I don't think so. Love shouldn't feel like a cage, Jake. And that's what being with you feels like." Her words hit me like a freight train. All the air seemed to leave my lungs at once. I stumbled backwards, leaning against the wall for support. My mind was reeling, trying to process everything that had just happened. "A cage?" I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. "Our relationship, our marriage, it's a cage to you?" Olivia stood up, her face a mix of frustration and what looked like pity. Look, Jake, I know this is hard to hear. But yes, it feels suffocating. You're so predictable. I need more than that. I need passion, excitement, spontaneity. I felt a surge of anger rise within me. And you couldn't have figured this out before we got married? Before we spent thousands on a wedding and this honeymoon? Before you made vows you clearly had no intention of keeping? She had the audacity to look annoyed. I told you I thought I could make it work. I thought marriage might change things. But it didn't. If anything, it made me feel even more trapped. I ran my hands through my hair, trying to make sense of it all. So what now? What's your grand plan? Keep cheating on me for the rest of our lives? Olivia sighed, crossing her arms. No, Jake. I think we should get an annulment. This marriage was a mistake. We should end it now before things get even more complicated. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. An annulment. She wanted to erase our marriage, act like it never happened. Part of me wanted to argue, to fight for us, but another part knew it was pointless. The woman I loved, the one I thought I'd married, didn't exist. An annulment, I repeated, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. Just like that? You're ready to throw away everything we've built? Olivia shrugged, her casualness infuriating me. What have we really built, Jake? A relationship based on lies and my inability to be faithful? It's better to end it now before we waste any more time. I felt a surge of anger. Waste time? Is that what our relationship was to you? A waste of time? She sighed, looking exasperated. That's not what I meant. Look, I care about you, Jake. I do. But not in the way a wife should care about her husband. It's better for both of us if we end this now. I stared at her, trying to reconcile this cold, detached woman with the person I thought I knew. How can you be so calm about this? Don't you feel anything? Guilt? Remorse? Anything? Her response chilled me to the bone. What do you want me to say, Jake? That I'm sorry? I'm not. I'm sorry you're hurt, but I'm not sorry for being true to myself. This is who I am. I can't change that, and I won't apologize for it. I felt like I was drowning, struggling to breathe as the weight of her words crushed me. The person standing in front of me was a stranger, someone I didn't recognize at all. How had I been so blind? True to yourself? I spat out, anger rising again. Is that what you call lying and cheating? Being true to yourself? Olivia rolled her eyes, further fueling my rage. You don't understand, Jake. You never have. I'm not built for monogamy. I tried for you, but I can't do it. It's not who I am. I laughed bitterly. Then why get married at all? Why put on this whole charade? She looked away, finally showing a hint of discomfort. I told you it was expected. And part of me hoped it would change things. That I'd suddenly want to settle down. But it didn't. I shook my head, disgust filling me. You're unbelievable. Do you have any idea what you've done? The lives you've affected? My family, your family, our friends, everyone who celebrated our union. Was it all just a game to you? Olivia's face hardened again. It wasn't a game, Jake. It was a mistake. One I'm trying to correct now. Isn't it better that we end this before we have kids? Before we're stuck in a loveless marriage for years? Her words hit me like a slap. We had talked about starting a family soon. The thought made me feel sick now. The mention of kids brought a new wave of pain and anger. Kids? I choked out. You were thinking about having children with me while you were out there screwing other guys? What kind of person does that? Olivia at least had the decency to look slightly ashamed at this. I wasn't thinking clearly, Jake. I thought maybe having a family would change things, make me want to settle down. But now I realize that would have been a terrible mistake. I felt my hands shaking, overwhelmed by the magnitude of her betrayal. A mistake? Our entire relationship was a mistake to you? Our wedding, our vows, our plans for the future, all of it was just some game you were playing? She sighed, running a hand through her hair. It wasn't a game, Jake. I really did try. But I can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not. This isn't fair to either of us. I laughed bitterly. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Was it fair to lead me on for 3 years? To say, I do, when you clearly didn't mean it? To fuck other guys on our goddamn honeymoon? Olivia's face hardened again. I get that you're hurt, Jake, but this isn't just about you. I'm unhappy too. I've been unhappy for a long time. Her words sparked a new realization in me. So all those times you said you loved me, all those moments I thought we were happy, they were all lies? Olivia's expression softened slightly, but her words remained cold. They weren't all lies, Jake. There were times when I thought I was happy, when I convinced myself I could make this work. But deep down I always felt restless. Unfulfilled. I felt like I was going to be sick. Unfulfilled? Was I not enough for you? What more could I have done? She shook her head, looking almost pitying. It's not about what you did or didn't do, Jake. It's about who you are. You're stable, reliable kind. But you're not exciting. You don't challenge me. I need more than that. Her words cut deep, each one like a knife to my self-esteem. So you're saying I'm boring? That I'm not good enough for you? Not good enough for me to be faithful to? She replied bluntly. Look, Jake, you're a great guy. You'll make someone very happy someday. Just not me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The casual way she was dismantling our entire relationship, our marriage, my self-worth, it was surreal. And you think you're such a catch? I snapped, anger overtaking hurt for a moment. A cheater who lies and manipulates people? Who uses others for her own selfish desires? Yeah, you're a real prize, Olivia. She flinched slightly at my words, but quickly composed herself. I never claimed to be perfect, Jake. I'm just being honest about who I am and what I want. Isn't that better than living a lie? Her question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Was honesty at this point really better than the lie I'd been living? I wasn't sure. Honest. I repeated, my voice dripping with sarcasm. You want to talk about honesty now? After years of lies and deceit? Olivia sighed, looking exasperated. I'm being honest now. Isn't that what you want? I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and despair. What I wanted was a faithful wife. A loving partner. A future with someone I thought I knew and trusted. But that was all a lie, wasn't it? She didn't respond, just stood there looking at me with what seemed like a mixture of pity and impatience. I continued, the words pouring out now. You know what, Olivia? You're right. We should get an annulment. Because I don't want to be married to the person you really are. The selfish, lying, cheating person who's standing in front of me right now. A flash of hurt crossed her face, quickly replaced by a cold mask. Fine. If that's how you feel, we'll start the process as soon as we get back. The finality of it hit me hard. This was really happening. My marriage was over before it had really begun. What do we do now? I asked, suddenly feeling lost. We still have 5 days left of this honeymoon. Olivia shrugged, her nonchalance infuriating me further. I don't know, Jake. I guess we go our separate ways. No point in pretending anymore, right? I nodded slowly, the reality of the situation sinking in. Right? No more pretending. I paused, a thought occurring to me. What about our families? Our friends? What do we tell them? She bit her lip, looking uncomfortable for the first time. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe we could just say we realized we weren't compatible? That we rushed into things? I laughed bitterly. So you want me to lie for you? To protect your reputation? That's rich, Olivia. She glared at me. It's not just about me, Jake. Do you really want everyone knowing all the sordid details? How would that make you look? Her words stung, but I realized she had a point. The thought of everyone knowing how thoroughly I'd been deceived, how blind I'd been, it was humiliating. Fine, I said finally. We'll say it was mutual. That we rushed into things and realized we weren't ready for marriage. But after that, I don't owe you anything. You understand that, right? Olivia nodded, looking almost relieved. That's fair. I'll pack my things and find another hotel for the rest of the trip. You can stay here if you want. As she started gathering her belongings, the reality of what was happening hit me full force. My marriage was over. My relationship was a lie. My future, everything I'd planned and hoped for, was gone. I felt lost, adrift in a sea of betrayal and uncertainty. As Olivia packed, I sat on the edge of the bed, my head in my hands. The weight of everything that had happened in the last few hours felt crushing. I watched her move around the room, this woman I thought I knew so well, now a complete stranger to me. "I'll send you the details for the annulment when I get them," Olivia said, zipping up her suitcase. "We should be able to file pretty quickly since the marriage was never consummated." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. We hadn't had sex since the wedding night, always too tired or busy with honeymoon activities. Now I realized why she'd been avoiding intimacy. She was getting it elsewhere. "Right?" I mumbled, feeling sick again. "The unconsummated marriage." Olivia paused at the door, looking back at me. For a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of remorse in her eyes. "Jake," she started, then seemed to think better of it. "Never mind. Take care of yourself, okay?" And just like that, she was gone. The door clicked shut behind her, leaving me alone in the silent room. Our honeymoon suite, now just another reminder of the lie I'd been living. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at the closed door. Minutes? Hours? Time seemed to lose all meaning. My mind kept replaying everything, searching for signs I'd missed, red flags I'd ignored. How could I have been so blind? As the shock began to wear off, a tidal wave of emotions hit me. Anger, betrayal, humiliation, grief, they all crashed over me at once. I found myself alternating between rage and despair, wanting to break things one moment and curl up and cry the next. I paced the room, my mind racing. What would I do now? How would I face our families, our friends? The thought of having to explain this to everyone made me feel physically ill. And beyond that, what about my future? All my plans, my dreams, they had all included Olivia. Now I was left with nothing but the shattered remains of what I thought was my life. In a daze, I pulled out my phone. I had several missed calls and messages from my parents, my best man, Olivia's sister, all checking in, asking how the honeymoon was going. The irony was almost too much to bear. I thought about calling someone, but who? What would I even say? "Hey, turns out my wife's been cheating on me for years and our whole relationship was a lie. How's your day going?" The idea was absurd. Instead, I found myself opening a browser and typing "signs your spouse is cheating" into the search bar. As I scrolled through the list, I felt like an idiot. Secretive phone or computer use? Suddenly changing habits? Decreased intimacy? They were all there, clear as day. How had I missed them? But then again, I realized I had missed them because I trusted her. Because I loved her. Because I never in a million years thought she could do this to me. The weight of my own naivety crushed me, and I felt tears start to fall. As the tears flowed, I felt a strange sense of catharsis. The pain was still there, raw and overwhelming, but at least I was feeling something other than shock. I let myself cry, mourning the loss of the future I thought I had, the person I thought I knew. After what felt like hours, I finally managed to pull myself together enough to think somewhat rationally. I knew I couldn't stay in this room, surrounded by reminders of Olivia and our sham of a honeymoon. I needed to get out, to clear my head. I packed my bags quickly, not even bothering to fold anything neatly. I just wanted to be gone. I called the front desk and explained that I needed to check out early due to a family emergency. It wasn't entirely a lie. This certainly felt like an emergency, and it definitely involved family, even if not in the way they probably assumed. As I waited for a taxi to the airport, I stood on the balcony of my room now, and looked out at the beautiful Bali scenery. It all seemed so cruel now, this paradise that was supposed to be the backdrop to the beginning of our life together. Instead, it had become the setting for the end of everything I thought I knew. The taxi ride to the airport was a blur. I booked the first flight home I could find, not caring about the cost. I just needed to get away, to put as much distance between myself and this nightmare as possible. As I sat in the airport waiting for my flight, I found myself back on my phone, this time looking up divorce lawyers. The word divorce felt surreal. We'd barely been married a week, and already it was over. But as I scrolled through the listings, I felt a small spark of something that might have been resolved. Yes, Olivia had betrayed me. Yes, she had lied and cheated and broken my heart. But I refused to let her destroy me completely. I would get through this. I would heal. And someday, maybe, I would find someone who truly valued me, who wouldn't see commitment as a cage. For now, though, I had a long flight ahead of me and an even longer road to recovery. As I boarded the plane, I took one last look at the paradise that had become my personal hell. Then I turned my back on it all, on Olivia, on the lies, on the person I used to be. It was time to go home and start rebuilding my life, one piece at a time. If there's one piece of advice I could give to others from this experience, it would be this: trust your instincts. If something feels off in your relationship, don't ignore it. Communicate openly with your partner. And most importantly, know your own worth. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. And you deserve someone who sees that, who cherishes that, every single day. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for watching my videos, sharing them, and supporting me along the way. Your views, comments, and likes are the driving force behind my passion to create captivating and unexpected stories. Every tale I share is more than just a plot. It's a journey of emotions, lessons, and reflections that we experience together. Your engagement brings life and soul to this channel. Thank you for sticking with me until the very end of each video, because the finale of every story is where the real impact lies. I promise to continue delivering twists and turns that surprise, inspire, and resonate with your hearts.